Oh no, you said it's good. Go. Fair enough. We are going to be jumping into the pistol. After all. Full Kevlars for Envy. None of this messing about with the utility. So it could be more of an explosive round as far as they're concerned. And G2, of course, have a kit and a couple of flashes on MBK. But for the time being, Envy taking it relatively slow, coming up mid all together, clumped up. Nobody's starting to go into the apps other than Happy at this stage. And they're making a move towards the Archer's side. Now, Apex is there with his USP, and things could get real messy real fast. If he gets caught, NextMS is the player to put him down. Meanwhile, Happy's going to take down Kenny from the backside. Or is he? Has he whiffed out on his chance? Oh, no, Happy. Okay, finally gets the kill. They're looking incredibly rough at one stage. And Envy have just slaughtered G2. NBK and Shocks up against the 5-man unit of EnVyUs. And make that all on NBK is the player with the kit and the flash, but doesn't matter. EnVyUs are going to sweep aside G2 in style.
Yeah, a flawless round and almost a team ace. Only Scream not getting a piece there, and it just came down to brute force and pure numbers. Envy just doing one of their patented 1-4 setups, getting that wrap onto Moto, overwhelming the pit player, not allowing the B rotation to be a factor. A little bit of a scrappy fight between Happy and company inside the balcony, but it's still won by EnVyUs in the end. And they will take it 1-0. G2 will buy up, but only 2 players head armor here, so they want to make sure they can get, you know, an AWP right away, maybe even double AWP. Definitely a team that loves to run double op with Kenny S and Shocks, and neither one took armor here, so they could open up with that right away, and they open gun if they so chose, as they try to get a little bit aggressive in apartments, but EnVyUs clean it out, no problem.
Happy is getting a lot of money back from that Mac 10. Apex trying to tap his way to victory with the CZ, does decent damage, but not enough to take out Sixer. And NBK again in another clutch scenario, this time with a Deagle. I'd love to see him land some headshots and make this an interesting round, but you can't help but feel that EnVyUs will just hold position, force NBK into coming in and trying to get up close. That should be the round going the way of Envy now. More just looking for exit frags at this point, Dust.
Yeah, and EnVyUs are certainly willing to put those Mac 10s out there and see if they can't print a little bit more money, and Scream will be the one to do it. They do both die, however, so they won't get to carrying them over again. But, I mean, at 1050, they could just buy it right back and continue to try to farm some cash. Is exactly what they decide to do. Mac 10s on Sixer, Scream, and RPK. A full save this time from G2, save for the P250 of Apex. He got a couple of kills in the previous round, so we had a little bit more money to spend.
Right, French is a little bit rusty, but I think G2 were asking if the sound is low. So I don't know if they're having some issues right now. The Leaning Tower of G2, though, with Kenny S and his USP, is able to get himself a kill. RPK in the meanwhile with Mac 10. He's going to spray himself 2 kills, looking for a third one. Oh, the taps onto body. That's some solid Mac 10 work. It's not really renowned for its long-range prowess, but it's going to go well for RPK. The same can't be said for Kenny S, though. He's going to find a Galil in the hands of Happy. And this is a confident start by EnVyUs. The last 3 rounds have been pretty dominant. I mean, that last one they lost 3 players, but the first one they lost none, and that last one they only lost 1. So their economy is building up nicely.
They don't go for any AWPs this time on the G2 side. Shock certainly had enough money for it, but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to make sure he has full utility in a kit. So he will go for the M4. Silence Cults across the board except for MBK. And then Bonnie will actually be working on the FAMAS. A little bit of different CT positions. Remember I was telling you, G2 have been making a lot of changes lately since the player break, and it looks like one of them is actually their setup over here on the CT side. Usually Shocks and Body would play B together, but now they're playing A together, and it's MBK and Apex on B, so they've done a complete swap, keeping the duos the same, but in a different site.
I think some of that may also come down to the lack of kills that they've got. Doesn't really allow them to get the AWP, as you said, if they want that full utility. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we're in round 4, and collectively G2 only picked up 3 kills. 2 on Apex, 1 on Kenny. So that is going to be an issue. You know, kills can ultimately equate to extra nades, which does help on the CT side. They have got quite a few of them still left in their back pocket. They haven't gone through them too fast. Incendiary tossed out, meaning just really 2 smokes and a bunch of flashes to stave off Envy on a potential push. Now Envy is starting to probe up towards the B site, taking control of Banana. They're going to meet Apex close range through the smoke, and if Apex goes down, this could open the floodgates. He very nearly gets sprayed through the smoke. That was not far off at all. He actually did take a bit of damage. Just below a quarter of his health disappears. But the time's 25 seconds left. Envy have got to get an entry onto A. If they don't, they're basically going to time themselves out. This is cutting it way too close. Body, Shocks, and Kenny S are laid in wait on the prowl. Kenny's going to get sidelined by Scream, but elsewhere, it's going the way of the CT. Scream with the headshot long range. Needs to get one more. Oh, if EnVyUs actually pulled this off, I don't think our PK's got enough time. This is so close, but they're going to run out of time. And the embarrassment is real for Envy. They cut it too close. And G2 just about by a slither survive.
Yeah, you really hate to see that. I mean, Envy, they were trying to just work map control and look for picks. I mean, they pushed top Banana, they had control of middle, they had control of apartments. I mean, they're just doing their typical default, but they just weren't really finding any openings. They didn't really cause any rotations. I will say that Scream in the home stretch did pull out some really big kills in that motor wrap, particularly killing the pit player and helping the team overwhelm the actual A bomb site. But like you noted, there just wasn't enough time left. You give them an extra 2 seconds, they have a post-plant 3v2, so they were just a little bit off on making that work. That's a tough pill to swallow because it really was right there in their hands, but they let it slip through their fingers off the clock. And so G2 do draw their first round. Again, EnVyUs playing default and patient. A little bit more focus on apartments this time around, but once they gain control, Scream actually falls back with the bomb middle. So again, just kind of keeping it pretty similar to the previous round, though they didn't really go for anything early at Banana, but now they'll be going for it.
That's with them failing, even with Scream, as you highlighted, landing some beautiful entries. If Scream doesn't get either of those kills, I mean, it's even more of a catastrophe, ultimately, for Envy. They've got to put that in the back of their minds, because now they're aggressive. RPK! That is filth! MBK just got mullered. Completely bodied. Now, 6 is going to be able to take down Apex. The site right for the taking from G2. RPK that one tap. My god. Kenny S out into the open, down he goes, and Envy, they're looking to break the hearts of G2 who finally get on the scoreboard. The tanks have none of it.
That one tap was actually just ludicrous.
I mean, that was Scream-esque. You know, Scream would be blushing after that shot.
I actually had to double check who shot when I looked down, because I figured that was just Scream. Certainly looked reminiscent of what he would normally do. I'll be talking about RPK's one-taps in this round break because now G2 have been reset. They have to just try to hold on to these 2 guns. Envy is on the prowl to try to see if they can stop those from being carried over. They don't have that much money to chase, to be fair. They don't want to have to tap into their wallets now and rebuy. Yeah, the money's there, but you want to save that for a rainier day. And they will not find anyone from G2, and so they will just have to kind of force buy around these 2 rifles with some pistols and armor. So yeah, just a really clean entry on B. You could see Envy picked up the pace just a smidge, and they were still pretty slow at the beginning, but they did leave themselves a good amount of time. They just went for something a little bit heavier on B side and just made it work big time.
RPK 6-1 right now. So is Happy, though, to be fair. MPK yet to get off the mark. Although it's been a really rough start for G2, they definitely can turn this back around. But they're cutting it fine. With another heavy investment in this round. They lose this. Envy are looking at a potential 6-1 lead. The pressure's on. Envy, in the meanwhile, can take their sweet time. They've still got over a minute to play with. They've got players and apps starting to filter through on towards the balcony. Plenty of nades, AKs. G2 have already dwindled down the majority of their nades. Only have 1 smoke left and flashes. Just 1 kit on body. Here comes XMS. A flash preceding it. But the first kill actually goes the way of G2. They've managed to get themselves a 2v2 trade. That's now going to be XMS putting down his foot to the throat of G2 with another frag. This time it Shocks. Partially through the box, and Happy. He is going to clean up. Envy shifting through the gears. They are looking deadly right now.
Indeed they are, and they have been looking deadly online for a while. They've qualified for every single event that's been put in front of them, beating G2 to get to New York, you know, beating some teams to get to the next season of E-League, getting into the ESG event. Their online form has been skyrocketing ever since the European minor, but it's been about can they transition into offline play, and so far they have here in this game. It's also worth noting that alongside the great form from Envy, it's been XMS settling into this team. I feel like he had a rough time his initial outings. Oh my god. Okay, I'm done. Actually unreal.
Can we get a PJ Salt in chat, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
His body's done. At this point, he just wants to disconnect.
Anyway, just saying that XMS has been fitting onto the team a lot better lately. His form has increased, showing us a little bit more of that promise you saw from him when he was playing on LDLC, shining through here on In the EnVyUs side, particularly that round.
And the crazy thing is, well, if you've just joined us and you're like, hold on, EnVyUs are winning 5-1 against the French super team, the one round that G2 picked up was because EnVyUs timed themselves out and planted half a second late. So actually, this could have easily been 6-0. This could have been a complete ruffle stomp. Envy, just unbelievable so far. But this is the G2 curse. They notoriously start events slow.
Yep.
And now, G2 are pushing their way onto the site. Getting close range with the CZ, doing work, but not enough. Now a bomb will get planted, and you're eyeing up a 6-1 lead.
Indeed, EnVyUs are off to a very clean, hot start. Not even losing too many members in these rounds, to be honest. The last 3 rounds they've won, they've only lost 1 or 2 players. So the bankroll is really starting to build, and G2's backs are against the wall. This is actually the first time we'll see them with AWPs this entire game, and it takes to round 8 to do it. And when you think about how strong of an AWP player Kenny S is, I mean, many feel he's perhaps the best in the world at it. Certainly, I would argue he is. And so the fact it's gone this long without him having it in his hands is certainly troublesome. And then you have to think, if this round doesn't work out, I mean, he may not see it again for a while. So this is the round I feel like G2 really has to dig deep and figure out, because, I mean, this is a lineup that should be performing better than this right now. And, I mean, they're up against the ropes when it comes to cash.
They sure are. This is... Although it's early days in this map, because of how poorly this started and how poorly they've performed thus far, they've only got 9 kills in round 8, by the way. So, it's just not boding well. Envy, in the meanwhile, complete opposite. They're landing shots. RPK's been a beast. Happy's also fragging out really well. And he's been a moment, or a player of worry a lot of EnVyUs fans, that sometimes he just goes absent in events. Sometimes he just doesn't really do anything. So to see him on 10-1 and performing very well is great. But Kenny S showing why he needs to have the AWP more often whenever he can. Nice flick shot onto XMS. Shutting down apps for the time being, is able to scamper away too. That's exactly what G2 were looking for.
Yeah, he's just a special class of opera, like a Device or a Fallen, that can just get impact frags and just be such a nuisance because he's all over the map. But RPK, he lands yet another key headshot. This time it's on Shocks to help start opening up this A-bomb site, start softening the underbelly of G2, but the rotation from Apex is here.
Such an important trade, potentially. EnVyUs have dragged themselves back in this. Just 30 seconds. We've been here before, though they are poised to attack much more quickly than last time. Apex getting caught from the side, spins around, and Scream has been put in his place. Kenny S has picked himself up a second, not a third. Sixer denies him, that spins around for a second, looking for a third one of his own, and it's really awkward on the site now. Both him and Apex run out of bullets. USP gets brought into play, and it hasn't quite stalled Happy enough to be denied the bomb plant, but it has allowed MBK to relocate into a very close position. He's hoping that Happy makes a walk through onto quad and gifts himself away. Happy sticking on the site. MBK has to do the work now. Doesn't have a kit, so he needs to get a move on. He's spotted Happy, gets the spray, and G2 have done it. They are able to win the round, but Dust, they're far from out of the woods just yet. They've got to get the momentum going. They've reset their round loss bonus. They are broke.
Indeed, they are. They'll have money to spend in this round, but it's still going to be sparse. Luckily, MBK, reclaims the biggest tool they need, which is the AWP in Kenny's hands. But the rebuy is going to be tough. Like, no one can really afford too many M4s. Just MBK was able to afford an M4 because he survived and didn't have to rebuy armor and utility too much. Everyone else is on FAMAS. And like you noted, I mean, if they lose this, you're right back to the 1-round loss bonus, and you're just drilling your head up against the wall because you've taken 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So they need to, as you noted, pull this off to give themselves a little bit of breathing room in this half. As again, we are seeing EnVyUs take things patiently here, just getting that map control. Kenny is aggressive at Boiler of all places with an AWP. Just such unorthodox positioning from him. He does it on all the maps. Just, again, he's a handful to deal with.
Because he has just such ridiculous reaction speed, he can afford to do that. Very few AWPers can. As you say, you're not expecting an AWPer to be at that part of the boiler. Like, maybe up on the stairs looking towards the back side of the apps, but not close range like that. That is just a Kenny S thing. You gotta shrug your shoulders and be like, fair enough, mate. You are pretty ridiculous.
The shotgun opper, man. He's so good at close range battles. Definitely.
And the reason I say that G2 are broke is because if they were to lose this, they'd have absolutely nothing. 4 of their players have below $300. Kenny S is on 1.5K. But if they win this, of course, and they do it clearly, then they're A-OK. XMS doesn't check behind him, but doesn't get punished. That should have been a kill, you have to feel. I think a flashbang landed, but Shox did have a few shots to eye up. And now XMS is going to get the frag, and the bomb plant will be coming right back behind it. The spray through the coffins, actually, will deny the plant by Apex. And nobody covering XMS, maybe assuming that the Molotov would keep him at bay. Now Apex just goes on a tear, destroying everybody with the FAMAS. And G2 have just about held on, but EnVyUs will have enough for yet another buy coming up right now.
Indeed, EnVyUs just had a little bit too much faith in that Molotov, thinking it was going to be enough to thwart any type of aggression out of that area while they went for the plant. But Apex, he finds a way to dance around the fire and put the spam through the box. Stops the plant and does even more to finish the round. So it is going to be G2 avoiding that reset for now. Money is still low, though, so that risk is still hanging out there. But certainly the money's beginning to run dry on the opposite end. EnVyUs here receiving so much damage. Sixer getting spam from balcony. That's such a deadly spam, and you can basically do it for free early round. It does yield a lot of damage. Gives G2 a little bit of an advantage when it comes to HP. But still, no frags have been found. MBK has pushed logs, so there's a lot of control of Banana for the G2 side. But the focus is A.
Body holding on for dear life with the FAMAS. They may not realize actually second player in pit, but Kenny S. He is just dismantling Envy at this stage. Shox buying up time, forcing screen back. Beautiful shot, partially through the wall into Apex, but Screamer's going to get put down regardless. And Shox picked up only his 2nd kill thus far in this round. I cannot remember the last time I saw Shox on a 1-for-8 scoreline. That's so uncharacteristic for him.
Yeah, that is true. There really is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's been a slow start here for the boys at G2. But they found the last 3 rounds in a row, and they've won the last couple pretty clean. So they're finally starting to gain a little bit of ground when it comes to their bank accounts. There's actually a little bit of money left for saving here on MBK, Kenny S, and Shox. They're starting to find a bit more wiggle room. That was just EnVyUs trying to change things up, trying to, bring a little bit of up-tempo to that round, commit to something a bit earlier, not come down to the wire on the clock once more, but it's denied across the board from G2, a firm defense. I think it started with Body getting that spam damage on the Sixer, and then everyone else just cleaning up house. So just a couple away from tying this thing right back up.
The terrifying thing as well, Dust, is this is from the group that we said was so hard to call. This is Group D, Immortals, G2, EnVyUs, Fnatic. Such an important map to win, because if you don't, the loser of this is playing, Fnatic in a knockout game?
Yeah.
That's definitely not something that you want to be eyeing up, seeing as they only just lost to Immortals, and they kind of choked towards the end of that game. So this is a huge match for both teams. And now it's EnVyUs who are feeling the pinch of the economy. They're into a force, 3 AKs, couple pistols. Passive by G2, not bothering to try and push Banana, take control. They're happy enough to give that up for EnVyUs. And EnVyUs will oblige. They're starting to push their way up towards the B side. 4 players strong, with Happy just behind them. They're already starting to make a move, actually. They haven't flashed or smoked just yet, so that's allowing the bomb carrier of Sixer to get fairly close up. The smokes actually came from the CT side. Now the molly's going to come through. The flashbang's on point, and XMS really able to transition his spray for a quick fire double. Instead, he gets traded up by MBK, but the bomb is going to get planted. Retake on the cards. G2 have 2 incendiaries in the HE. Those are going to be very important for the potential retake. But Envy have positioned themselves in difficult places for G2 to get rid of. And with the smoke and the flashes being exchanged, now the molly is going to come into play. I highlighted them before because you can cordon off areas just like the dark spot, just like the new boxes. Now it's down to Happy. He's in a 1-on-4. He's extremely low. And all G2 have to do is play bodyguard to Kenny S. Happy can't afford to re-peek. He knows he's a dead man if he does. And because of their economy, he can save this AK and they can actually get a buy next round. But G2 have picked up their 4th in a row.
This all comes down to utilization of your grenades, getting that utility out in key areas of the map. EnVyUs were, you know, in post-plant positions that are always just so vulnerable to incendiary grenades, and I think that's what's really the key difference in how that retake worked out. There was really no nades left from EnVyUs to hold off any of those choke points. They just had to rely on their aim, but then they're getting flushed into awkward space by fire and dark corner and new box, and I mean, that was pretty much the end of it. Like, it was free frags for G2 in the retake. So really well done there. Now they're just 1 round away from tying things up. They're getting aggressive at mid, but XMS is waiting for it. It somehow clips Happy in the process. That was really crazy how that panned out, because Happy was inside sewer, so he didn't really see the mid aggression, but XMS picks up on it, and this could be the advantage that EnVyUs needs to pull through another round and hold G2 off. They have some leverage now with that kill, as they will just kind of settle into a default. They have RPK maintaining control of B. XMS is Happy, looking control of apartments. No one's playing it, so they'll get it for free. Now, Body is in a tricky spot, and there's like some potential for spamming here that we have to consider.
Body's okay for the time being. G2 aren't under too much pressure. The thing is with Kenny's play, I wonder if they assume that EnVyUs were onto an eco or a half-buy. That's the kind of play you expect to see when the enemy doesn't have much. You try and storm down mid.
Yeah.
Very much a question mark for me. A head-scratching moment, and it could cost his team dearly. Because now they're trying to fight for the scraps on B site. The flashes are coming to fruition. MBK, is this his moment to strike? He's done so much damage all by his lonesome. There's 2 tries looking for a 30. Picks that up, switches to USB, and he could be on for a 4K. Not going to happen. But he did so much work in the process. RPK now going to the back of the site after the bomb plant. Nade narrowly misses out on claiming his life. Joined by Happy. Both players have kits. Happy gonna get sprayed down surely by Body. No, he's gonna live to fight another day on 4 health. Collectively 24 HP on the side of EnVyUs. Is that gonna be enough? It's now down to 20 HP of the tank, and he will deliver with a 4K of his own. 12 and 6, and EnVyUs just about scraped by.
Really brilliant round from RPK. It looks so good from NBK on the other side. That's a tongue twister for you. As they both go with the initials with the K at the end, but this time RPK was the true killer. He had the entry to silence Nathan and then get that post plant locked down. So EnVyUs are going to be up 7-5 in the money on G2. They can buy here, but it is scraping the bottom of the barrel, to be honest with you. And if they lose here, they've got nothing going into the next one. So this is where EnVyUs can start reclaiming a bigger lead. All thanks to just a brilliant effort from RPK with the quad kill. Again, you hate to see it because MBK did so much work, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Well, there are a couple of massive performances, one MBK and then RPK. Both stepping up massively in that round, but for G2, it's going to be a heartbreak. For Envy, they're on the brink of actually closing this half and making it a nightmare. This could even get into 10-5 territory if they win this round. As G2 will be broken. Meanwhile, going to be no aggressive play this time from Kenny, that's for sure. He's got the AWP, he wants to say, pretty passive.
He'll take lane side. They're actually really focusing in on short. I mean, EnVyUs have favored it, and Apex is actually stranded here at B. He's going to put a smoke down, but I wouldn't be surprised if EnVyUs start looking to push past that soon. Though MBK has made the rotation back. He's got an M4. He does have a flash and incendiary as well to help Apex get out of here, perhaps. But Apex wants to hold his ground with the UMP. He does find one, but it is quickly traded. But good incendiary from MBK. It slows them down, but they'll push past. MBK's low on HP, and Scream will claim him with the MAC-10. And the bomb's going to go down. They have a 4-on-3.
A quick rotation from Body, though, can make things a little bit more interesting. Happy's going to go peek out, but he gets himself caught by the man himself, Body. No kits on the side of G2. Sixer, low. Scream, low. AWP doesn't care about HP, especially if you're drilling into heads. And now it's all down to Shocks, and he's going to get picked off from behind, and EnVyUs have done it again. Clearly, they feel this B site is the weaker of the two. They continue to push here, and they continue to get success now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's not a whole lot of complex stuff going on in their T, but they're just playing simple Counter-Strike so very well. And to be fair, there's really not a whole lot of complex stuff you can do as far as crazy executes go on Inferno. It's pretty standard stuff, but they're just so efficient right now in how they're trading into bomb sites. They're really straining G2 to find ways to win. It's come down to big plays or like retakes that have a lot of utility, but they just haven't had a lot of rounds where the utility's been at their disposal. And again, the AWP has been limited. Canadians only had it a couple of times, and this is now EnVyUs just reaping the rewards of what they've done to G2's savings account. I mean, there's just nothing there for G2. And EnVyUs, they will skate on to 9 rounds and have a shot at double digits before we transition sides.
I mean, they really did plant the seeds earlier on with that 6-1 lead, and now they're seeing it beautifully flourish into a great half. Body is trying to do what he can to make a go of this round, but ultimately he's just outnumbered, outgunned, and down he goes, 9-5. It's going to be a decent buy by G2. I think a 9-6 half wouldn't be the end of the world. 10-5 is actually really rough to come back from, but full M4s. I've got to say, out the two teams, EnVyUs have by far and away surprised me and impressed me the most. Not just because they're winning, but like individually, they have looked amazing.
Yeah, the frag distribution's actually pretty tight over there. I mean, there's certainly a couple of clear high performers, but no one's really slacking off too much. I mean, the numbers are there for the entire lineup. So we're going to get into the last round of the half. EnVy gonna win it no matter what as far as the half goes, but they could do even more damage with the 10th on the board. As again, they're just kind of in the same holding pattern at the beginning of the round. They've usually been, you know, only going banana late round, and they've had a lot of success with it, but they haven't really challenged it early too much towards the middle of this half. They did a little bit earlier on, but they certainly kind of changed up the game plan a bit in that regard. They're looking for middle this time. They'll find Kenny S stranded. There was no one to help him, and he just gets taken down. There is some trading going on at Porch, but Scream's still holding firm, and they actually win out these duels, and they'll take the A-bomb site. They'll have a 3-on-2. No choice but to go for it for G2, of course.
Seriously, watching Scream transition from a spray into tapping when he knows he's got a few bullets left in the M4A1S and landing headshots is like poetry in motion. There's just no one else like him in that respect. I'm speaking, Six is going to drill himself a headshot with the AWP. And MBK. A bit of a rough scenario. There's the first headshot, though, of what he's hoping is many. Incendiary into pit. Happy is going to go looking for scouting information. And we'll close out the half 10-5. And that's in EnVyUs' favour. And, well, they've just looked by far and away the better of the two teams. I mean, Happy's been performing well. RPK landed some nuts entry frags earlier on. I'm thinking about that one tap on Coffins that just blew me away. As you say, the frag distribution from top to bottom is only 5.
And that's just a crazy round to watch G2 lose because you felt like they had such a great trap set up on lane. Like, yeah, they had Kenny S kind of out there under Porch solo, but they had a player boosted, and they had a third player there kind of waiting by truck. And so they could have easily, like, I guess what I'm saying is EnVyUs could have easily been baited into a false sense of security after getting that first pick with 2 players there to follow it up. Because normally you expect someone to maybe be like Moto or inside the site, but they committed to playing triple lane, and that could have been very overwhelming to deal with, but they still traded their way through just basically brute force aim, particularly from Scream. And I mean, like I said, they just traded so efficiently all half long. Again, nothing really complicated, but just nailing the basics down and winning the key fights when it mattered most.
Yeah, again, it's just that sort of meat and potatoes, delicious CS, but nothing really too much flair, nothing that unique, nothing that special. Very wholesome, and really G2 could do nothing about it. I'm hoping from a neutral's perspective, getting a competitive map here, not having another blowout, that G2 start well on this half and win the pistol. I want it to get close. I want it to get a bit pressured on EnVy and see what G2 can bring to the table on their T half, because if they start poorly here and EnVyUs get a 13-5 lead, the way that EnVyUs were playing with those rifles, I actually can't see G2 getting back in this. They've been comprehensively outclassed.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, you do consider the fact that EnVyUs did to the New York qualifier, so, in recent times, they've done quite well against G2, but on this map in particular, G2's beat them the last 3 times they've played it, and when you think about the offline setting, it typically has been, G2 favored, right? I mean, you look back through this year, when they played against each other at the EPL Finals, Season 5, it was G2 who beat them in a best-of-1 on Nuke. Close game, to be fair, but they got it. And then, of course, we saw them at DreamHack Tour when the Lions kind of first started making their debuts together, their first time playing head-to-head offline since they had made, the big shuffle. And it was a 2-0 for G2 with no real problems. That was in the grand final, or semifinals, rather. So, I mean, it definitely is cool to see the torch kind of coming from the other side this time, as we have had a player drop out, so just kind of filling in as best we can. Do apologize for the delay.
I think they're saying they're changing a cable to the monitor.
Oh, fun.
So could be, or to the PC. So could be a little while. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Are we going Q&A again?
We could just go full
podcast. Q&A. Yeah. Send your tweets over if you want to ask some questions to OnFireVents or Follow Dust, since it looks like we might have a little bit of downtime while this issue gets sorted. Want to get you guys involved a little bit here. We had a little bit of more luxury here on the view stream. Don't have all the cool, fancy things, so all the bells and whistles. We'll let you be a part of it. Reasonable.
You like music?
You went from... Oh, yeah, obviously.
That's just your mind, mate. Get out the gutter.
Coming from the guy who almost got fired for talking about touching butts. Did that make the front page yet? Definitely highly upvoted.
Hopefully not.
Nope, not quite.
Right, he's restarting his PC, so hopefully that'll be coming in soon. Yeah, if you have any questions, guys, fire them across to us on Twitter. Be happy to answer them as long as they're somewhat PG, family-friendly questions. But, okay, here's my question to you, Vendust. So far out of the games that we've casted, which players impressed you the most? What's really stood out to you?
Fitch.
That's a fair shout, yeah.
I mean, this is like the biggest event he's ever played in his entire CSGO career, and he's not even a young guy. Like, I think he's like 25 or something like that. So, I mean, he's kind of going through the trial by fire later in his career, his first big chance to play in top international play. I know he, has familiarity with, because, I mean, that team's like majority Kazakhstan now. Like 4 of them are, except for Dozia. All the rest are from Kazakhstan. So, obviously, there's familiarity there from playing on like national teams together, and he's played with Hobbit on Tengri and stuff like that. So, what's your favorite plays on Inferno from any CS? This comes from Seal Diablo. I don't know does he mean like favorite tactics or something? Like favorite play? Or does he mean like just favorite like moments? Like Deagle's Happy Ace has to be like up there on like craziest things we've seen on Inferno. I think just the entire game of what was it, iBuyPower versus LDLC in that Faceit finals in Italy. I can't remember what the name of that Faceit tournament was, but it was like the Faceit finals that they had in Italy. It was like the semifinals match where it went like crazy distance.
I've got a more direct question for you that doesn't have any room for interpretation. Who's the best AWPer at the moment?
Kenny S.
That's
Fallen's
fair.
like I don't know, man. It's a tight race between those two. I feel like Fallen and Kenny S are both top notch. I think Device is also a good shout. I think that there's not many oppers like him as far as how mobile he is on CT sides. Like, I've looked at some heat map comparisons actually, like randomly, just because I was curious, between like Device and Fallen and Kenny S on CT sides of certain maps, like Overpass and Mirage, for example. And Device is literally all over the place. Like, even though the other guys are also quite mobile, Device just like kicks it up an extra notch on his mobility, which I think makes him very unique. But I think Kenny S has to be like the total package, but like Fallen and Device are right there at the heels, I think.
A question by Joseph Gaming. Are you the immortal Iron Fist?
Dude, I got that DM from him earlier. I forgot about that. He's a legend, by the way, with that one. I am not the immortal Iron Fist. Oh, man. Well, I had a Jiho, I think it is, Jiho Park. He's got an EnVyUs avatar. It seems to be an Envy fan. He wants to know what would our French super team be. I think we already answered this.
Yeah.
Pretty much we thought G2 was kind of it, to be fair. But again, I think some of these guys from EnVyUs are certainly good players. I think you can't go wrong. You just have to find the right mixture that works. But if you went on skill level alone, you would just keep G2 and maybe have Scream in the mix if you were just going by skill level alone. But like, I don't know, RPK's been heating up lately, and I think XMS is starting to really settle in.
The only questions
their
I
names
have,
in the future.
I definitely can't read out on chat.
Fair enough.
Definitely can't.
Fair enough. Who, in your opinion, will win the tournament? That was from CS:GO. I think we already answered that. I said SK. Did you ever answer that? Go ahead.
No, I said SK as well. I agree with you.
Okay. Of course.
It's hard to really argue against SK winning.
Oh, this is a good question. I think this is safe enough.
Well then.
It's from Mark Milkdud. Reasonable name. Like it. Good shout. Said, if you were to get blackout drunk with any pro player, who would you want it to be? That's actually fair. I think that's like, so I guess it just means like, what player would be most fun to kick it with?
Dozier?
I mean, he is the X-God. And if you're rolling with him, I bet he is going to be the wingman of all wingmans, to be fair.
Hooch and Dozier. Easy peasy.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm going to go with good old Nothing. Always really fun to hang out with that guy.
To be fair, he probably would be great, wouldn't he?
He is very hilarious to hang out with. Sexiest pro. I think Vince Art. Oh, I thought you were going to go with Dozier again.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Dozier's on a different level, but if we're talking about mere mortals, then it shocks. And Sean Gares.
I'm going to have to go with Sean Gares. There you go, Luca Tremblay. Glad we were able to answer your question on that.
Where's
I appreciate
Trout?
these. Is that a question?
Yeah, apparently it is. Never played for G2 or EnVyUs.
Busy probably pulling more viewers than we have while playing PUBG. He will soon have more subs than we have viewers on this stream. That's what he's doing. He's just being a legendary streamer.
Alright, we got one of our players back. It shocks.
Nice.
Now waiting for Envy. You can do it, guys. I believe.
We all believe. We want to keep this game going. It's been a good one. Been a good one. I think I've run out of questions. Remember, if you guys want to submit questions, since we're just killing time while we wait for these players to get back in the server, again, you can shoot them to OnFire Events or Follow Dust. Also, again, a huge shout out to everyone who helped me reach 10K today. That was a goal of mine, and I did get there, so thanks a lot. And before everyone unfollows and I go back down to 9,000. But really appreciate it, guys. Okay. I feel like this is an unfair question to be asked this, but we're going to do it anyway, Vince. Let's see how cheeky you are, okay?
Reasonable.
All right, here we go. So Skurnops, Matthew on Twitter says, if you could pick one organizer to have all the future majors, which organizer would you pick? Seeing as how we're working for DreamHack right now.
Seeing as we're working with DreamHack and they're like the only organizer that will actively hire me to events, I'm going to say DreamHack.
I'm the exact same way, Doc. Like, I'm just out here, man. They are hiring us, so I will take them. I will also just say that, working with all the organizers, DreamHack always does have like a really cool culture behind it. Always fun hanging out with everyone. So, yeah, there you go. My question to you, this comes from the real idiot.
Well, this should be a banger then.
Wait, no. The real idiot.
Okay.
Down? I should start reading these Twitter names funny, like, shit, what's his name? The meathead guy. Like the one who does, like, bro science. He always, like, does the Q&As with Twitter, and he always, like, just purposely acts like he's illiterate and, like, reads their Twitter name wrong. So it's a good shout. His question was basically, you know, you have Day Swag and AZK. Realistically, who would you think would be a good 4th and 5th for the team? And he's saying be realistic, so that means you can't just go like fantasy, like whoever we want on the team, but just, you know, realistic answers. So
to be completely honest,
go for it.
I feel like your input on this would be far better than mine.
Vince, answer the damn question.
No, let me
I'll still
explain.
answer it.
Your knowledge of that scene at that kind of tier, because obviously you're saying realistically they can't just pick up anyone, right? And
all right, well, let me make it easier for let me help you out then. So realistically, I feel like you could probably get players from, say, like middle of the pack to bottom level teams to be on their team, because even like it's basically you're sacrificing not being able to play at majors by playing with them, or really any events outside of ESL right now. But we'll see how it goes. I think there's maybe room for them to reintegrate deeper in the future. But yeah, so you have to be a player at like a certain caliber where it's and the thing is you also have to think that someone could still do it short term, so it might be worth it short term to give up on that for just like a few months or 6 months or whatever to learn a lot from a great group of players and maybe, you know, go deep in some tournaments. So yeah, I mean, so think of guys like maybe from like an Energy or a Complexity or a Renegades, or I think those are all reasonable teams that might maybe one of their players would be willing to go for it short term.
See, I even thought of Nothing when you said that.
Oh, like, yeah. I mean, that's actually a good shout.
Potentially fit in there. He obviously doesn't have a team right now. Bunch of really talented players, but I guess it comes down to, like, does Nothing want to play at majors, right? Because clearly they can't.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're always going to be banned from majors. Anything at that kind of caliber is going to be done. So would Nothing step in? I have no idea.
It's a decent shout. I could see that. Someone like Freakazoid's a free agent out there. I know he's not like the best fragger like in recent times, but I think he could play the role of entry, like, and maybe set someone else up to succeed, kind of like he did with C9 in summer 2015. So that's just like free agents. I guess technically Nothing's not a free agent; he's still under contract, but yeah, those are some shouts. Again, I think like young players like an Ethan or a Breeze or some of these guys who maybe just want to learn more and then do it short term are also fair names. Who's the best player in NA and EU right now in the world? I think we already said Cold Zera takes NA and the world, but if you had to pick the best EU player, who would it be?
Well, I said before that because that question that we answered earlier is like said apart from Cold Zera, right? And I said I think Nico probably is on his day, so I'll stick with Nico for EU.
Getting some real unsafe questions coming in.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. Gave me a good chuckle. Definitely can't read them out though. Okay, I'll ask you.
I actually got a good one.
Right, go on.
It's from Donde Es the Lalich. I hope I just didn't say something in a different language that's obscene and gets me fired.
That's why I'm not reading the names out.
What is the favorite match you've casted? I think for me, it's probably the Tempo Storm versus VP Best of 5 from the CVG Infinity Pro League last year. Won all 5 maps, really intense. Tempo Storm won. That was back when VP was still really strong, so that was a really cool best of 5. It's like that's actually one of the first games we've ever commentated together offline as well. So that was kind of like yeah, and that was kind of memorable for me because that kind of kickstarted my career for the rest of that year and this year. And then of course the SK Fnatic Grand Finals at DreamHack Center was pretty big. Quickly answer before we get live with the game. What is your favorite match you've casted?
Nip vs Godsent last year at DreamHack Malmö. The semi-finals in front of a Swedish crowd. Won't be there this year. Feels bad, man. Let's move on before I start crying.
Yeah, not only do teams get eliminated today, but so do me and Vince.
Exactly.
Go live with the pistol round, dude. Take it away. Take it away. Take it away, dog.
G2 obviously need this pistol badly. RPK though is in pit, and as long as he stays there, they have a real chance. Plus Happy also from balcony is raining down with a double. Now G2 originally you could see their trajectories just go straight through on the site, but as soon as they landed on the barricade of CT players, they had to pretty much just stop dead. They have got a kill and knocked RPK very low. If he goes down, that's pretty much the round back in contention. But RPK, oh my god, even with 6 health, he's able to clean up the last 2 players. What a beast.
I feel like EnVyUs are just destined to win this game. Like, just the way it's playing out, how well they're playing, despite, you know, some odds going against them at times, they're still just digging deep and winning rounds. So, you know, shout out to them. I mean, that round was a little bit cleaner. I mean, they did only lose 2 players, but like you noted, RPK came down very low on HP and still pulled it out in the end to finish it off. So, it's 11-5, G2 force buying up here. Armor and pistols across the board.
Yeah, all about that farming, dude. Don't know what I had to do to the end. Anyway, G2 have gone for a force. They didn't get the plant down. All stacked towards mid for the time being, although, of course, with so much time left and they do still have a smoke and a few flashes, they can decide to turn tail and go back towards the B side. No one's pushing down for EnVyUs. They don't have information just yet. They do have a player in Archers who's peeking up, and I think that's 6 up. I really want to budge an inch at the time being. Both teams are very cautious. That smoke, perfect timing by MBK, right in the face. And then we'll push him back. Kenny S, in the meanwhile, is going to get one alongside Apex, and maybe G2. They have a couple more twists and turns in store for us yet. RPK at the back of the site's not able to get a single kill. It's not going to yield anything, and I don't know why Scream is shifting across the library. I mean, that's where XMS is. There's no chance anyone's in there from the T's. A little bit awkward. Bomb now getting planted. Molotov doing a bunch of damage to MBK, who's forced to go up on the boxes. I'm sure XMS just saw him, and how has MBK not died to the flames? For sure he's a dead man. Now, EnVyUs are able to basically just do hit and runs tactics, but XMS with a double UMP frag is able to put this round back in contention, but Apex with his MP9 gets a 4K. And G2 actually win the round. I have no idea what the hell just happened.
Dude, like, that round was pretty wild, to be 100% honest. Like, G2 looked to firmly have it in their hands as they were able to overwhelm the A-bomb site with those pistols. But then EnVyUs wrapping around Moto, getting MBK with that fire, getting those frags into the site. It looked so good, but then from Pit, another SMG reigns supreme, and it's G2 holding on. They'll trade right back, and now EnVyUs, they will force up, so that means their money could go to the wayside if they don't win this round, and Happy's already been discovered by Shocks. Puts him down. A bomb site's wide open right now, by the way. It was a gamble stack on B, but G2 doesn't catch on, and in fact, EnVyUs are now rotating everyone over back to the A bomb site. I don't know if the bomb will commit here or not, but there's plenty of presence in middle right now from G2 who are looking to take fights.
This is a sure win for G2 now that these kills have came down on Archers. Scream, the Eagle, should get the drop onto Apex. We'll put a bullet in the side of his head through his temple. And picks up the UMP. Would be a terrible save out of this round. They probably won't have too much in the next one. So this would allow him to save a UMP, then drop the Deagle to somebody else. At least they'd have some kind of firepower to work with. But in terms of G2, they are starting to gradually come back into this game. After losing that second pistol, you feared the worst for them, but they've turned up the heat again.
No, absolutely. I mean, EnVyUs have lost this round, and now they have to just save this UMP. They don't even have armor behind it. Now, this Deagle can be dropped by Scream to someone. They could still have a bit of something to work with in the next round, but they do have to essentially save everyone because they need that money for the buy round that's coming up. So G2 should waltz into a 7th round, or 8th round, rather, because I can't do math, and they already have 7. But, like I said, I mean, they will at least have the UMP, and like I said, Scream can pass this Deagle over to someone. Or keep the Deagle and pass the UMP. There's so many options. Just 2, of course.
It's going to be a Deagle to Happy. And with 4.3k, he could actually get Kevlar behind this to stop aim punch. I guess it depends on how much they prioritize the AWP, though.
Yeah.
But he is going to go for the Kevlar instead. It does make sense. You don't want aim punch when you've got the UMP. It allows you to be a bit more aggressive. He can buy down to equalize the rest of his team around 2.8k.
Yeah. Plus, Sixer has the money to buy the AWP next round no matter what, so not as much of a factor.
Envy can go for double ups themselves. They do have the players to be able to pull that off, but I feel like Scream he's just fine having a rifle. I hear he's pretty decent with the rifle, Dust. Not a bad player.
Nope. Spot on.
RPK's taking a little bit of damage. That second nade can do a lot more, but the flashbang and the aggression through mid isn't going to work out quite the way that EnVyUs were hoping. Again, though, it's a low investment round, and they've got 2 players low. This is in the realms of possibility for Scream, but not if MBK is on point with his Galil. Envy will have the buy that we were talking about before. Scream still has 5.8k actually to buy anyway. So, I mean, the double up's still in the back of their mind if they want it, but he's going to go for the M4 instead.
Yeah, so curious to see what G2 is going to do in this round. They do have the AWP in the hands of KNES. They have all the utility they could ever hope to have. And again, Shox has been trying to get more active lately in the main control group of the team, not trying to play the periphery anymore. That's why you see MBK taking over apartments and Shox not really being involved in there right now. So a little bit of a change on how they want to approach their T side. They're putting a lot of focus on getting control of top and end. Just MBK playing alone over here at the A-bomb. So he does spot the shadow of RPK. RPK will even re-peek and give RPK the frag, or MBK the frag, but it is a trade from Happy at least, but still favoring terrorists. They still do have 2 on the B-bomb site.
Yeah, certainly will favour the T's, because effectively this would be a 4v2 if they push right now. Now, sure, it's on the B site where crossfires are so potent, so deadly from the CTs. And without kits, they want to make sure they make the most of this. I think KNES just saw a pixel peeking around the corner from Scream. And gets it on the second time as Scream goes looking for the kill. XMS is down as well. That's going to be the one planted. Envy, only round they've picked up on this half thus far is the pistol. Doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon, especially as Happy's already off to save. This round's done. 9-11 will be the score. And G2, they are looking like they are the better team now. I mean, EnVyUs have been crumbling on this CT side.
Yeah, just kind of an equal exchange taking place over on the A side of the map really made EnVyUs have a tougher time getting that rotation to get a third player over to B. And you have, Scream, who is playing Coffins, who just kind of really commits to a fight against KNES's AWP. He saw that he kind of danced with death the first time around, and KNES misses the shot. You give KNES a second chance like that, and the odds are not in your favor, no matter who you are. So Scream going down really put a lot of stress on XMS, and he just got overwhelmed. So really good trading by EnVyUs to that B-bomb site. Body and KNES, huge factors in that. Despite the fact that Body has had a slower game, and really the whole team has, are starting to come alive here in the second half. Like you noted, only 1 round has gone the way of Envy here, and that was the pistol. It's been all G2 since. And money, again, pretty low for Envy. Just that AWP saved on the Sixer and Happy's M4. Really to work with in this round. So they're trying to triple banana.
And he chunks XMS. And he's going to retaliate. Playing even more aggro with his Deagle. He was kind of isolated off as 2 Molotovs landed behind him anyway. So at that stage he was forced into being confrontational. But another rotation may come to fruition for EnVyUs. They've already taken 2 players off A and moved them towards CT. 6 up spots himself. MBK peeking. But they are going to keep Happy actually in CT spawn for the time being. So this is putting so much pressure on Sixer. For all they know at this stage, there could be T's pushing around short towards the A site. Of course, we have the benefit of knowing that's not the case. EnVyUs are calling this one to perfection. And ultimately stacking the bulk of their defenses on the right side. But that's only half the problem. Scream with a CZ wasn't far from teeing off on a couple of players. Meanwhile, MBK is checking out the A site, realizing that it's completely vacant and empty. It may not even matter in the end because the superior weaponry is shining out. Again, with an awkward nade, takes down Apex, who was already very low. And now Happy is all that remains. Going to take down KNES with him. Well, he's doing some economic damage towards the T's. This round's done. Now it's just a case of how many weapons did G2 take out of it. Can Happy pull off some ridiculous play and save the AWP is another one. In terms of money, G2 are fine with throwing away weapons to stop Happy saving this. They've got 3 or 4 players around 6k. And down goes Happy, finally. Gonna pick up the AWP from his corpse, and G2 move to 10.
Yeah, they're really starting to find a good rhythm here on their Terra side. That's now 5 in a row. Just trading so well. Like you said, I think it just worked out great that they were able to kind of trap XMS like that, not allow him to escape, get that free 5-on-4 and just work off of it again. Still money for EnVyUs to buy up here. They are going to have the AWP back in Sixers' hands. M4's across the board. Full utility sets. This should be their best bet. The challenge is they are, again, going for that triple Ivy setup. Excuse me, triple banana. I don't know why I mentioned Ivy. There's some grass around there, I guess. Saved? Definitely not. Not for body either. Scream going to tag him out. And I'll just step away now.
Kennis has been flashed, still goes for the peak, and XMS is caught. There's multiple angles for Kenny S to watch out for as he came around the corner, so it's not going to reap too much for G2. Is this the moment where EnVyUs start to get back into winning ways? RPK gets the very flashed up Apex, couldn't see a single thing. And now a 2-on-4 is going to continue. Scream has been spotted. MBK, however, needs to be very wary of a potential push from Pit. Scream's going to go down and pretty much has no help. Both the other EnVyUs players are just trying to look out for themselves and make sure they lock the bomb down, but now they're going to give up Archer's control. The plot thickens. Now G2 have decisions to make, and 6 has gone all the way back to T-step, so B site is ultimately completely bare. G2, though, are going to continue to go through on this side of Arches, and Shocks does connect the shot onto RPK. Now A's open. What a strange round this has been. Both teams rotating, avoiding conflict by and large. Happy is still in the apps. Now the bomb has been planted. It's all open for debate. NBK with a filthy shot onto Happy. And Sixer is going to be moving through onto the A site. This should have been EnVyUs' round. It still could be if Sixer pulls off a 1v2 clutch. But there's no doubting that he is now certainly the underdog. Doesn't have a kit. He's just going to back off. How did EnVyUs end up losing that round? I am so confused right now.
Yeah, very strange round, as you noted, but it all came down to that 3v2 at the end of the round. But EnVyUs were never really able to kind of use the numbers to their advantage. Like, Sixer obviously was kind of flanking behind Banana, so he wasn't really able to get there. So it was essentially a 2-on-2 over at the A-bomb site. And then Shock's just able to get kind of a free 1-on-1 duel with the AWP, gets that kill. And then you have NBK just catching on to Happy. He spotted that pixel inside the apartments, able to find a nice headshot there. And that's pretty much the round done and dusted. And now we're tied up 11-all. Money on the EnVyUs side is still a bit strained. They do keep that AWP in Sixer's hand, sure, so that's the most costly weapon already carried over and going to be at their disposal, but when you look at someone like XMS, the money isn't really there. Even for Scream, you're not able to get M4 armor. So it's going to be tough. We do see CZ from XMS as he gets armor behind it. RPK will have M4 armor. Scream has a decision to make. He'll go with the Deagle and armor. So kind of the middle-of-the-road approach. I mean, they'll have money on Happy, Scream, and Sixer going to the next round, but money's still going to be really tight for RPK and the likes of XMS.
Yeah, RPK's down to $0 ultimately. So even if they were to win this round, they'd be hoping for a drop. To make sure if they do win this, it's going to be keeping as many players intact, but we've only got 2 flashes and a smoke and no kits. That's asking so much. RPK is going to get sprayed down by MBK. Horrible way to start the round for EnVyUs. And you have to feel, if EnVyUs lose from this point, that may have been the turning point, that last round. The 2v4 somehow went away from them. Scream heroically trying to stand his ground and fight with the Deagle. Sixer trades out with York before falling back to the site. But he's by his lonesome. Meanwhile, Happy's way back towards second mid. Sixer's doing the damage, though, with 1 kill. Gets killed by the nade. Lands under his feet. And Happy, I honestly, I'm not sure about this rotation at all. And because it's Happy, Shocks is like, I'll check every single corner around the back of us. It's almost like his... You just know with Happy, ultimately, where he's going to be playing, the kind of angles he's going to be coming from. His reputation precedes him.
Oh, absolutely. You just got to dial in and make sure that you leave no stone unturned whenever you got Happy left. in the equation. There's always kind of lurking in the shadows. He's been a bit more active on this variation of the team, to be fair. There's certain maps where he's much more active than what he's classically known for, but that's one of those moments where kind of his true nature was shining through, and Shox reads it like a book. And now EnVy back onto a buy as best they can. They're looking to once again push the issue at Banana XMS. This time they're able to isolate Body, but the flashes coming through from G2 will not allow him to escape, and they put a nice smoke up to stop Scream from being able to come and help XMS out. So tit for tat over on the B side as we get into the mid round. As G2 is looking to maintain banana control, they still have MBK lurking in the apartments. Trying to create pressure, hold people in place, leave that option open even maybe for A.
Be wise not to re-peek this. Kenny S is on the prowl. Oh, he actually misses that shot.
No, he hit it.
Well,
Did
misses
the damage.
kill, I should say.
Yeah.
He hit 6er, but down to 26. You're expecting him to have landed the outright frag from Kenny S's perspective, but still damage has been inflicted. 35 seconds though on the board now. RPK with one. Kenny S gonna miss out on that, but whips out the P250 and makes that stick instead. Happy, the back of the hay bales, able to spray with the M4. Every second they waste is so valuable from EnVyUs' perspective, but Happy eventually gets flanked, and Scream is able to put in the frag with the M4. Apex is going to try and fake out the bomb and see if one of these CTs pushes him, and now going to go for the full plants. He has a smoke to cordon off the side of Library. A flashbang too. Six is thinking about pushing that. Apex, so far so good. Able to get back into the pit. Bomb not necessarily planted for him for the time being. He's got a player right above him. This is all going to come down to timing, you have to feel. And Scream jumps right down. Apex is going to get the double. As Sixer is able to connect the shot with the AWP. And it was very close as well, actually. They don't have a kit, but he will have this defuse, and EnVyUs take a 12th.
God, that was such a crazy round. That was like a true boxing match of a round, like a real slobber knocker. I mean, it was literally kill for kill. Each team basically had a team ace. EnVyUs did have a team ace. Body's the only person who didn't get a kill for G2 that round because he was kind of the first domino to fall. And you just never knew who was really going to win that round, it felt like. Like, again, the kills just kept being exchanged. There was always an answer, a response from each team, but in the end, it is the men over at EnVyUs who finally punch in a round. This was their first since the pistol? After a 7-round drought. I don't understand. I am sorry, but nonetheless, it's all even. This is where it starts getting real tense in this game, you have to feel.
There's Molotovs down there, and G2 are taking a lot of damage to the fire. Sixer is going to continue to just clean house with the AWP. 2 kills on the cross is not going to stop the bomb plant, and Kenny S has silenced the heroics of Sixer, who's definitely been turning it up these last couple of rounds. Bomb planted, still very much doable. EnVyUs have a few nades to play with. No kits for the time being. Kenny's going to be playing towards the back of the site now that MBK spotted RPK. That flashbang, though, completely destroys Kenny S. Couldn't see anything. MBK is going to toss out the Molotov, but Happy's going to push straight through. Going to throw in a nade of his own, and MBK is down incredibly low, but still gets the spray. And MBK, who started, was he like 0 and 10 at one stage, is now 16 and 15 and pulling off clutches. Excellent work.
This has just been a grudge match, dude. It's just been an absolute brawl. Again, the frags just being exchanged back and forth. You see Sixer coming up big with the AWP from CT Spawn. There was some cats in the smoke he could kind of use to get vision, and he got some key frags, but G2 just responds right back, and MBK wins a clutch, and now EnVy are in real hot water right now. I mean, they've been reset once more. They don't have anything that they can really buy into this round. Next round's going to be a similar scenario, so they're going to have to figure something out here because G2 are on a pretty smooth ride to a map point at this time, considering EnVy's economy. They're going to have to make a gimmicky round like this work, you have to feel like, as look at G2 just creeping into B, but there's 2 CTs in the smoke.
This one's such a little buy. This is G2's chance now. Remember, they trailed 10-5 at half-time, and now they're in the round in the lead and likely 2. Happy No huge surprise to see he's the last player alive, but he will find the same fate as the rest of his team. G2 just too shy now of winning. This would be an epic comeback too.
And this really would be. They were down 10-5. They lose Pistol down 11-5. Then they go 7 in a row. They've actually won 9 out of the last 10 rounds. They get up 14-12, and they've put EnVyUs' economy in the bin. Excellent work. That was just Body going on a scouting mission alone and having all the success in the world. And now, again, Envy have to full save, essentially, to save up for last. As they are going to be hunting down middle, but they get a couple of kills. But again, it's Body who's being the bodyguard, so to speak, saving his team from slipping through the cracks of a force buy of just some upgraded pistols.
The flashes in mid there were pretty special. Right in the eyes of G2 as they're looking to push up. Unlucky not to get more kills, really. If they had better pistols, it probably would have been, but instead, it's going to be G2. EnVyUs did tap out of that round again. They were playing for overtime. And now it's pretty simple. 3 rounds in a row, or they're going to be facing Fnatic, pardon me. I nearly said Immortals. Immortals did beat Fnatic 16-14. They'll be facing Fnatic in the knockout match in a best of 1, and that's definitely not a place you want to be.
No, certainly not. So this is what they were saving up for in that last round. They weren't doing the 4-spot survive tactic. They were saving up for one last hurrah, and that's this round. They're going to have a pretty solid assortment of guns and utility to work with here. Scream again, getting a little bit forward on Banana with this smoke, but not committing to anything too aggressive. But G2, they're committing for fights at middle, and Sixer just missed a nice shot. But he does find the follow-up, and he's looking for more, but he's getting hunted down in the meantime. Happy has cleared out NBK in the apartment, so things are piling against G2 in this round. What the heck was that?
Sixer?
Hello?
Are you alright, mate? I mean, I know Happy must be frustrating to play with at times, but team.
I mean, that was
now?
a sick shot, to be fair, though. That was a good shot.
Fair enough, I guess.
It's a falling headshot. You gotta love it.
MDR.
I don't even know. That's like one of the more egregious team kills I've seen. There's just nothing there.
Happy is triggered. Scream, in the meanwhile, though, going to try and tap himself to victory. Down he goes, and even though the team kill did come in for Sixer, they are going to clean up anyway. And I guess at that stage, Happy's like, fair enough, mate, just don't do it again.
If they would have lost that round, though, you have to think that the salt levels would have been pretty high.
But
I don't know what I don't know if he just saw movement and just reacted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you think, oh, that's maybe a terrorist jumping out of balcony. I saw movement. I just respond and shoot. And again, it was a nice shot. But definitely scary for a moment there. But Envy get past it. Now they're on a double AWP. Scream has the second one. A lot of utility forcing him out of that angle, though.
Yeah, I'm sure he just shrugged it off anyway. He probably had a good little giggle to himself. And EnVyUs still in this. Double up Scream with the second one, and he is currently going to be chilling over on the B side with it. Meanwhile, pretty standard formation, nothing out of the ordinary here by EnVyUs. You come to expect of Inferno. I mean, you did say at the very beginning that these guys have gone neck and neck almost every time that they've played recently. And this is looking like it could be more of the same. kennyS, though, is going to open up his account in this round by taking down his 20th kill. 45 seconds left. Managing to mitigate the flash and pounces out with a fire shot onto RPK. Reactions on point. Flash and smoke's being thrown down onto the site, but Happy's able to stand and deliver with one. It's such a sketchy position now, knowing he's surrounded by enemies, and, well, the nade is going to claim his life. It's all on screen. He's played well, and there's the first shot. It's going to open up a real hope now, trading across to the AK-47. As a kit. But this has GG written all over it. Shox and kennyS both playing solid positions, able to cover one another. If the peak comes out, Kenny just needs to come out of balcony and look down, basically. And it may be Shocks that just finalizes this round anyway. Scream is trying to check each angle. He's looking on the site. Shocks is going to one-tap him down. G2 are victorious. The epic comeback has been completed, and EnVyUs will